Babenda. Mottanni, how are you today? Good morning and welcome to the show as you unmute yourself. All right, so you definitely have to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Thank you very much, Ernest. Thank you so much for getting me on the show today. And a big good afternoon to all our audience out there.
How are you today? Long time.
A very long time. I'm super good. Thank you so much.
Wow. That's great. Right. So I was saying that you are a spoken word artist par excellence. I mean, you do it differently. I've listened to scores of works in this domain, but when I listen to you, the tendency is to want to continue listening to you because you do it so well. Now, recently you released what you describe as spoken word poetry album. This is the first time I'm coming across this concept. I know of music album. I've never heard of spoken word album. What does that mean?
Spoken word album is simply a collection of poems that have interlude as you do the poems with an interlude of music with background sound, so that the audience can be able to consume it at their comfort zones, be it in their homes, be it in their bedrooms, at their business site. They should be able to consume poetry without you necessarily being there.
Okay. How is this different from a collection of poems we have in a book?
The only difference between spoken word poetry and a collection of poems is, the difference, first of all, between spoken word and poem and the conventional poetry, because spoken word actually is a domain of poetry. So the difference between that and a poem written in the book is the fact that you use connectives and the fact that the performance engulfs the performers, the writer's emotions, the writer's emotions, and also the writer's feelings are all brought in the writer. So that is the difference between spoken word poetry and normal written poetry. And the difference between the album now, as you're asking, and a collection of poems, it's just the fact that the album is made in a musical way, and also it is actually being performed by the writer and sometimes interlocked with music.
Right. So tell us how this is produced, because you call it an album. You've talked about sound, perhaps some music in the background and so on. So how is this produced? Is it done the same way you would do music in a recording studio?
Okay. For the production of the album.
Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to say that for the process of production of the album, it is basically just like producing a music album, but a little less tedious, because the focus is not on the singing, it is on the poem. It's on the poetry. It's on the writer. So the focus is to bring out the emotions of the writer. The music is just a byproduct. The focus is on the poem. So it is basically the same way you record music. Like you come up with a concept that you want to, a concept or a certain thing you want to address, maybe in the poem. Then you start finding out, okay, you decide to put it in a way that is palatable and it is non-offensive. Then you go to the studio, you meet the sound engineer, you present to him what you want to present, then you and the sound engineer together, you come up with an instrumental that might be able to fit behind the poem. Right. Then in some cases, you get a vocalist that can be able to also add some musical magic to the poetry to make it more entertaining and more attractive to the audience when they first listen.
Okay, but now I want you to clarify me on this. You talked about instrumentals. I understand with instrumentals, you don't have lyrics. So do you just introduce instrumentals without lyrics, or there's a point where part of the music in that production can be the poem itself?
Yes, you're right. There are points where part of the music is part of the poem itself. In most cases, if you look at the album, you'll get to realize that when I wrote some of the pieces, and then I got my vocalist that will be part of it, and they most times do their performances or their rendition. They always do it with respect to the poem. So in most cases, the singing or the music or the instrumentals is part of the poem that you're presenting in that particular track.
This is Apex One. You are broadcasting from the United States of America. Thank you so much if you are just joining us. Let's have a bite of this, then we'll be back with you.
Babylon from scratch, touch by touch, blow by blow. So let it get down. Make man no cry. See us we fly. Let you say we try. Make your pain be die. Make your sky.
Now, so your spoken word poetry album has 13 works. Are this a collection of poems written in the past, or when you set to do this album, you actually developed 13 new poems?
Okay, the spoken word album contains 13 tracks, and out of those 13 tracks, I think there are 4 tracks that have been previously released. That have been previously releases that were added into the album. So the other remaining tracks was actually composed for the purpose of the album. The 4 tracks that were previously released, we have Abakwa Breeze, we have Along My Way, we have Save Me, and there is one other. Those are the 4 tracks that had already been previously released. The singles that were previously released. So we decided to include them into the album. But the other 8 tracks were made purposely for this album.
Beautiful. Now, since you're here and since we want this conversation to be lively, we'd like to use this opportunity and get it from from the raw source. So let's pick one. Let's begin with one. Pick one and let's try. Then we'll talk about it later.
Okay, let me give you Abakwa Breeze. We call Abakwa Breeze here in Bamenda. We call it the Abakwa Man's Anthem. Because it is what uplifts and inspires us to do the great things we do. So here is Abakwa Breeze. Now Abakwa this, them they wonder how we progress. But Bele people they confuse whether their prayer they instead give winner success. We know good roads, them things say we know go rise. With frequent power cuts, come see how we improvise. We lead opposition, come see that they try two shows for put me to a mess. We get all the best schools, come see how we wander after school with fires. Now Abakwa this, them say we make mock say we dey on top. So we cross say we fit and up on our own, and we not go wait other people forgive within them. So then they look we like few. As we dey write them, act them, sell them, then praise them, make them see them. Abakwa Breeze, we know they listen to our heart again. Say gain no day, but now only pain. Now head the pain. I said I head the pain. So we must use them every day. In order not for turn gain. For we believe say at the end of that tunnel, we go see that light ring. Abakwa people, we know in them. We know in them. For when we get down like nothing, not say we plant something. With the way our cross for fix our head for Chumbe the crown. Now Abakwa this. With the rise, with no models to look up to but the skies. Without ease, but like disease where you don't get cure AIDS. Even if you try for free, we could still rise. For Sika say, now our destiny, and we could Caesar, even if you always custom for the fall for our place. We day in peace when we fight for justice, even though you beat we, cheat we, and throw away like one pieces. Abakwa Breeze, till we die, we no go cover eye. We been a die, no cover eye. When it bat, we go try new style. Then wait small for 1 hour. We go dig up. Say that thing where we dream up. Believe up. Think am, walk am, we achieve am. Mottanni. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's a beautiful, beautiful one there. What would have expected you to say Abakwa people, for instance? Why Abakwa breeze? Tell us about the breeze.
Abakwa breeze is just trying to engulf the idea of breathing, because breathing is living. It's trying to somehow let the people know that we are living. So Abakwa breeze is Abakwa. It's like Abakwa lives. No matter what you do to Abakwa, Abakwa still lives on and keeps striving day in, day out. That's the title. That's why we got the title Abakwa breeze, because breeze is something that refreshes, something that gives life.
Tell us about the motivation to write this piece.
Okay, I think I wrote this piece at a time where the crisis rocking the region was at its peak, and every day mothers get up and they are mourning their husbands, they are mourning their sons, or you see mothers being raped here and there, and it felt like everything was really, really dark. Was really, really dark. Then coupled with the fact that we don't have the roads, and since we don't have roads, be it in the town or farm to market roads, everything was becoming very expensive. Everything is very, very expensive because, you know, the road network is what affects every other sector of the community. So at this time, people were feeling so dejected and they felt like giving up. So the inspiration came to me to write something like an anthem, so that whenever they feel like they've been left behind, whenever they feel that pain of giving up, whenever they have that thought, they can just listen to Abakwa breeze, or they can just recite Abakwa breeze. Let it inspire them. Let it give them a new hope to know that despite what you're facing, you are going to overcome. What you're facing now is just a preparation for the glorious future that Abakwa has.
You wrote this poem in Pidgin, which is a very beautiful, you know, and widely used language. Yet it is not a conventional language. Did you still respect the literary devices, just like you would do when you're writing in conventional English?
The truth about it is, when you look at poetry from its origin, from the yesteryears, poetry originated from Africa. So even though the poem was written in English or in Pidgin, it was written in Pidgin, unconsciously, it had to contain all of the stylistic devices, most of the stylistic devices that we use in conventional English. That is to let us know that the origin of poetry, when our parents used to sit us down around the fireside to give us stories, they always told it in a poetic way to make it beautiful. Most of them did not speak the English then. It was even in the dialect, and it still had those poetic devices. So this Abakwa breeze was written in Pidgin. I didn't force the stylistic devices to come in, but I decided to write it in pure Pidgin, and at the end of it, the stylistic devices found their way into the poem.
Right. Take us on a ride with yet another one in your selection. Let's talk about it. So, which one do you go for next?
Let's do Fireside, the one whose video is already on YouTube.
Right.
Yes, let's do Fireside. Okay. Breathe. 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 Grafi Peking. Breathe. Abakwa. Breathe. Jamestown. Breathe. Bamenda. Breathe. Africa. Breathe. I feel love for this place. I breathe peace for this place. I risk my life for this place. I break my back for fix this place. This place is all I know. It is all I dream and where my parents sow. Where my ancestors bled but didn't bow, beaten, humiliated at their backs, used like a cow, but they kept on in sorrow, never water low. Their blood watered this land, so do not expect me to give up now. For they cried, they laughed, they sang and danced to the sound of lash weepings from fellow brothers, but looked up to Baba for up. So us he's raised to take by force, like the days of John the Baptist. So know the wonder, or try for put asunder. For we fight each other for love and stamina, preparing ourselves to fight the intruder. For our land must prosper, our children must grow, and our children must show that the sweat of their brow is proof of their power. Uphold our languages we will. Uphold our diversity we will. Roar we will. If you try for touch our culture. For we are a team operating from a different real. You don't go understand, so you think we scheme. Oh no, we are driven by a dream. To build this city to stand like a city on a hill. Like ancient Babylon from scratch, touch by touch, block by block. So let the hate die. Make man no cry. See we fly. Nothing say we did dry. Make your pain it die. Make your sky it blue. Look to the heavens and so. From where cometh your help? So look to the sky till those who look you as fly watch and wonder as you fly. For I come like the Son of Man, not to pull you down, but to shine on so you can see my light and shine your light. For though I walk in the dark, I am not looking for the light, I am the light. So now I dream until my night becomes my morning light. Dream until the ground and place on which I stand becomes too hot and tight and push me forth to where my feet are feet. For though my future is scary, I won't run back to the past just because it's familiar. This tragedy is my great purifier. I am not the victim. Now me be the victor. I am not in danger. Now me be the danger. I am not fighting to win. I want to fight. I am not fighting for victory. I have been victorious to fight. I am not saying I am because I will. I am saying I am and I will. I am not saying you can't stop me. I am saying stop me if you can. For it is my mission, driven by a vision from the Most High. So I don't take the decision for no shy for saying. Every victor has a story. Every warrior for the war. Some people get beaten by this battle. I get better in this battle. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Graphic Kid, breathe. Abakwa, breathe. Jamestown, breathe. Bamenda, breathe. Africa, breathe. So let the hate die. Make man no cry. See we fly. Nothing say we did dry. Make your pain it die. Make your tears it dry. Make your sky it blue. Look to the heavens and so. From where cometh your help? So look to the sky till those who look you as fry watch and wonder as you fly. Fireside.
Now this is a lot of inspiration. Honestly, this is a lot of inspiration. I don't know how you do it. Now, first of all, it's lengthy and it's very coordinated.
Yeah.
And tell us about the image of fire in the first place.
Abakwa Breeze, the fireside. Fireside is about engulfing the hardship that Bamenda, Africa, has been going through ever since creation. If you look at the first stanza, it's about making us understand that we are in the Northwest region where there is the crisis, there is the virus, there is a lot of kidnappings and wild killings going on. So the first stanza is telling us how we still feel love despite what we are facing. We still feel peace despite what we are facing. It's also telling us how we are risking our lives by being here and refusing to go anywhere else because we believe in the great future of the town. Then the second stanza is trying to incorporate what our forefathers went through. They went through in the hands of the colonial masters. They went through in the hands of even our fellow brothers, where they were beaten. Remember, during slavery, there were times where your brothers are being beaten, and the sound of the cane is the others are being forced to dance to the sound of the cane of their fellow brothers that are being beaten. When their fellow brothers were being beaten, they are forced that, okay, when they weep, you, the others who are not being beaten, are dancing to the sound of the cane. So that's basically what the second stanza is trying to make us understand, that we're being beaten, we're being broken. But we know that our forefathers, their blood watered this our land, so we can't give up at this particular time. We can't give up at this particular time. Then going back to the fact that we were granted political independence and not economic independence, and we have been suffering for a long while now, and we are still dependent on we are still dependent on some of our colonial masters, and it's not easy. It's not easy. For what happens is our rulers rule as the colonial masters want, not as what the people want. So Fireside comes in to make us understand that no matter what is happening, we should not despair. We should not go on in agony, but we should keep doing our best to give out the best, to bring out the best in us, and also to keep fighting to make sure that in the end, we finally get the freedom that we deserve, economic, politically, and social and otherwise.
Very strong message there from an engaged poet, Mottanni. He's live on Apex One Radio. He just released his spoken word poetry album. Let's quickly talk about the short film before we leave. You also did release a spoken word short film with Fireside as well. Tell us about this concept.
Okay, the concept of the spoken word short film came when my personal coach and trainer, Coach Lanjo Neindefo Sidonus, and the video director, Double G Films, Gerardigo Guevara, they sat together after listening to the poem Fireside and all what it contains. They said, it's not going to be enough to just do a video. We have to do a film. We have to do a film that will show every single aspect that is engulfed in this poem, every single aspect that Africa has been going through. And we are going to use Bamenda, the Northwest and the Southwest, as a typical example to showcase what Africa has been going through in the years and what some regions in Africa are still going through in the hands of our so-called leaders, and also in the under the manipulation of some other powers that we can't really talk, we don't know much about. So they said, let's do a film. So that is why if you look at the short film now, they came up with a concept that engulfs a little boy. You know, children are the hope of tomorrow. So we used Awumbom Gemu, who is an actor. He's an actor on the royal jacket of the veteran actor, Grandpa. We know him, Vuga Samson. Sure. So when we shared the concept with Samson Vuga, he told us that, okay, there is one boy in his acting theater troupe that will be able to fit that part very well. He gave us Awumbom Gemu, who fitted so majestically, so well into the piece. It began with him struggling to live while his parents have been murdered. While they were seated around the fireside, there was an attack on his parents who had been murdered. So he struggled to breathe. He even found himself in heaven, but I think by some sort of magic, it was told that it's not his time, and then he came back. And then he got up, saw his parents struggling for their lives, went to them, found out there was no way to help them, but he remembered that he could do something. So he decided to go on a trip. He decided to go on a trip to look for a solution to the parents. And that trip, going on a trip to look for a solution to the parents, to the parents, is like saying that Africa has to take our time to somehow go back to the past in order to harness their future. So he decided to go on a trip, which signifies Africa going back to their past in order to be able to control their future. Because most times when we Africans try to move ahead, we find ourselves moving forward to the past because we don't know where we come from. So Awumbom Gemu decided to go back to the past. He decided to go on a trip. And on that trip, he encountered a lot of difficulties, making Africans understand that when we decide to go back on the past, we'll have those difficulties, we'll have those trials. But so long as we keep focused on the goal ahead, in the end, we'll triumph. So he went on that trip, guided by the Creator himself, guided by his zeal and his determination to free and to revive his parents. And at the end of the video, he found a way to revive and save his parents from death. that is telling Africa that when you go on that trip, you need determination. You will face difficulties. You will face a lot of trials, a lot of obstacles. But if you keep being focused, I bet you, in the end, you will be glad you took that trip. In the end, you will be happy, for you have not just saved yourself, but you have saved generations that are coming behind you.
The end determines the means. Just be focused, and in the end, you will definitely not regret. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We'll find time on a specialized program and get into the details of this works. It's quite inspiring. I want to thank you so much, Mottanni, for joining us on African Fiesta today. Just before you go away, could you just drop your contacts?
Okay, thank you very, very much, first of all, NS, for this opportunity. You can get to Mottanni on www.mottanni.com, www.mottanni.com, or you can also check the album out on www.bandcamp.com. Bandcamp.com, from there you can get it. Just type Mottanni and you'll be able to get the album. Or you can get to Mottanni with the email desmonddestiny@gmail.com. desmonddestiny@gmail.com, or you can call the numbers 237-679-400-486. 237-679-400-486.
The message has gone across. Thank you so much, and keep providing these good works to the audience out there. I must say yours is exceptionally good. So thank you so much. Do have a fantastic rest of the weekend.
Thank you so much, Ernest. Good shout out to all our audience.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.